All right, and hello and welcome back to another Falcons Fanatic podcast. This time with face cam. Got to fix my hair a little bit. This is the first one of this season. I apologize for missing out, but it's just been a long couple of weeks and my computer's been in the shop. But I'm back now and here to talk about another atrocious Falcons game. Um, all kidding, this wasn't that bad. This game I've definitely seen worse from the Falcons. They've had their moments over the couple of years, but this one's fine. I think this team is going to be good. We're going to be fine. We put a great effort against the Chiefs here. There's just a couple of things that really irked me. First of all, that final play. I'm just going to get to it right now. Rip the Band-Aid off as you will. What a horrible call to line up in the same formation we've lined up, about 3 times already today. It's worked one time, just barely. The other times it's gotten stuffed. One time, just barely, because Bijan snuck his arm through. I'm not even convinced that it passed over the line. But whatever. We're gonna run that play again on 4th and 1, when we have Tyler Algier back there, who's about 500 pounds, full of brick and mortar. I mean, the play before he even got a couple of yards, even though he was running through a freaking brick wall. Give the man the ball in this opportunity. And we're running this too cute play, and that's honestly what I found about our offense toward the end. Last week when we beat the Eagles, our offense was fine. It was on time, and it was the right plays. It was big chunk plays, but nothing cute. If you watch every single one of these plays on our final legacy drive on this game, Kirko is either throwing it to the flat to Darnell Mooney or it's a running play. And every single one of those flats to Darnell Mooney were or he's trying to get a sneak in on Kyle Pitts or Drake London. I am telling you right now, we are not going to win a football game by throwing screens to Darnell Mooney. We're not going to win a football game by doing a jet sort of sweep with 2 running backs in the backfield. Like, if you want to get 10 yards or 0 yards, that's the play you run. If you want to get half an inch to get the first down, just hand it off to Algier, man. Like, it's really that simple. Or put Penix in, put somebody without dead legs in, put them under center and push them over, right? It doesn't have to be Kirk under center in that position. But instead, the Falcons once again choke the game, and it didn't even have to be that way. Because even earlier in the fourth quarter, the Falcons had another legacy drive, quotations heavily, where they brought it all the way down to about the 15-yard line. They went for it on 4th and 2. I actually agreed with the decision to go because it's short enough where, they have to get it. But now we're staring at 4th and 5. And, the play before, Kyle Pitts maybe gets interfered with. It's ticky-tack, all right? And we're going to have a lot of flags go our way on the next drive, which I think was sort of in retribution to that. However, we decide to run a play on 4th and 5, and what happens is the Chiefs send a blitz. Everybody is blanketed. Kirko tries to sneak one to Drake London. It's sort of just a noodle arm. Kirk kind of had a noodle arm that whole second half. I don't want to mention it, by the way, but it's sort of noodle armed into the feet. Drake London can't come up with it because who could? And the Falcons turned over. If we kick a field goal in that situation, it makes it a 2-point game. The Falcons lose by 5. If we get a field goal there and a field goal on our next possession, look at that. We're winning this football game. But instead, we don't, and we lose by 5. And look, all in all, I think Kirk played as good of a game as he could. Because, I mean, just looking at that, man, it's surprising that the man is still upright. It's surprising that he can walk. It's surprising that he isn't in a hospital bed right now, that he's throwing a football with decent accuracy. And the play calling has been better these last 2 weeks. But this time the Falcons can't come up with the legacy drive to win it. And you're looking back and we only scored 17 points, and that's just not enough points to win a football game. And you're looking back at the opportunities you had. Man, I wish that we kicked that field goal. But then again, maybe we don't get that opportunity. It's if we get the touchdown, I'm not talking about this, right? it's just a tough situation to be in. It's another home loss for the Falcons. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, I keep dancing around it a little bit. But yeah, 230 yards, took a couple of sacks. I thought the offensive line was passable. It was really great in the first quarter. I mean, our starters, lights out, once again, as they were in the Eagles game. Once we start bringing in Storm Norton, once we start bringing in other dude, I don't even remember, he's on the inside line. I mean, we're getting thin there that I don't even know any of our players. Look, he was really bad. I don't know. The center that filled in, atrocious. A couple of penalties. A couple of times he just got completely turned around. Storm Norton fit in a bit better, but even he had a rough start getting a penalty, getting blown by. I don't know if it was like the third quarter, and on the third down, Storm Norton and Ray McLeod just sort of decide, neither of us are going to block this edge. How about that? You know, when neither of us want to do it, neither of us are going to do it. And there was just a couple of plays that could have gone our way. Rushing attack was non-existent, and so the Chiefs, I think, correctly realized that without the rushing attack, this Falcons offense is quite inept, and we kind of got bailed down the stretch with some penalties. Oh, I'm just breathing in the air right now. Yeah, there were a lot of opportunities to win this game. Starting out 1-2 though is acceptable. The Falcons, I was saying it at the beginning of the season, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to say it at the beginning of the season, but the Falcons needed to start winning one of these first three games. And I always thought it was going to be the Steelers game. I had never expected them to be as good as they are. Their defense is just outstanding. Another good win for them today. And the Falcons stole their game against the Eagles. They had an opportunity to steal one here. And let's not forget that they had their opportunities to steal one against the Steelers as well. But our offense was, our play calling was inept at that point. But this team lives and dies with Bijan Robinson. And you look at some of these other players, you know, Drake London having a good game. Darnell Mooney's being really heavily utilized in this offense. Kyle Pitts had one explosive play, had the tampering in the end zone, if you will. But other than that, he was his old self, invisible. And, you know, offensively, it's just not enough. And we need to be smarter with our play calling. We need to be smarter with our going for it, kicking the field goal decision making. And we weren't that this time. I'm going to take this down. I didn't even realize I was up there. Like, on the defensive end, I thought it was great. You can tell that this Chiefs offense is humming. I mean, to hold them to 22 points, I think, is excellent. Every single play, every single opportunity that the Chiefs had, you just felt it in your heart that they were going to get a big chunk play. And even without Pacheco, even without any semblance of a running game, Carson Steele averaged 4 rush. You know, the threat that Mahomes holds in his passing allows anybody behind there to run for great yardage. And so holding him to 4 a rush, I'm fine with that. Holding to Patrick Mahomes for 200 yards, a completion percentage around 50-60%, I'm taking that. 1 interception, 87 rating. Happy to take that. Kirk Cousins had a better rating than him. I know that's not the be-all and end-all, but Mahomes threw a lot of passes in this game. And a lot of them fell to Rashee Rice, who did go down in this game with an injury. A little too late for my fantasy team, but that's besides the point. Everybody else, other than Rashee Rice, he couldn't find anybody. Travis Kelce gets 4 catches here, but he's a shell of himself now. I mean, he's not getting any separation. He's not finding the holes with the speed that he needs to. And, I mean, D. Alford tackled him in this game. Like, that was the funniest thing to me, is there was like a screen sort of play over to Travis Kelce that they had. D. Alford just blows it up. D. Alford's like 5'8". Travis Kelce's a tight end, big boy. And Kelce goes down easily, you know, just wrapped up at the legs. Just falls paper plate. I love D. Alford, so that's a good plus for him. But, yeah, Travis Kelce, shadow of himself. Other than that, nobody's giving you anything. Xavier Worthy's a good for a couple trick plays. Juju's good for a couple of, receptions, whatever. He'll get open once or twice in the game. And he got open for a touchdown on Jesse Bates, which was one of the only times I think I've seen Jesse Bates really slip. He's going in, he's going to fake a rush, and instead he backs out. Obviously, the commentator in there, he circles Juju Smith-Schuster. Nobody's on him. So you see Jesse Bates back out. Okay, it's man on man here. He's manned up against Juju, or at least he's pretending to be manned up against Juju. You'll see later that he hands him off to a linebacker or something. Little too late, because he was nowhere to be seen on Juju Smith-Schuster. Had his eyes somewhere else, eyes in the backfield, eyes on the outside receiver, the X-receiver. And it was a touchdown for Juju because nobody had him. And the commentator saw it, I saw it, and Mahomes is definitely seeing that. But other than that, the Kansas City offense is pretty predictable. Carson Steele is, like I said, any running back's going to do well. Rashee Rice is a really great receiver for them. And other than that, it's a bunch of guys who are supposed to be good. And you say, oh, Travis Kelce, he's good. Juju Smith-Schuster, oh, he's been good in the past. And I know you're going to say that about Darnell Mooney, but Darnell Mooney's been playing the last 2 games like our best receiver. You can say Drake London has been doing that. Darnell Mooney has been the go-to guy for Kirk Cousins, at least in the first half of this game. Later on, you see him go to Drake London, you see him go to Kyle Pitts. Darnell Mooney gets open often. And I was impressed, and I've been impressed with what I've seen from him. Another great pickup by this Terry Fontenot in this front office. Another great pickup was Ray McLeod, who's explosive in a way that you remember Taylor Gabriel being explosive. And it was just a rough game for Bijan, and that's the thing. They're able to lock down Bijan. Tyler was a bit more explosive running the ball, even still, because when Bijan's in the game, you have a feeling he's going to be involved. And when Tyler is, you have a feeling he's not. But the one thing that Bijan did do well in this game, that I will say that he's done well this whole season, is in pass protection. Because does that guy know how to block? He's coming up, there's linebackers blitzing in through the A gap, and every single time he meets them and pushes them back. And looking at that, I would expect that from Tyler Algier. From Bijan Robinson, I'm expecting him to give him a wipe and go. Give him a shock, let him go. He shocks him and pushes him back. It's incredible. It's creating a pocket for Kirk Cousins that he needs to thrive, because Kirk Cousins is immobile as... I think my grandpa, who's about 80, can run faster than him. I'm serious. Like, the man... There was one play early in the first quarter, or maybe it was the second quarter, but the Falcons have the ball. It's third down and 3, and we're probably going to throw the football. We haven't been effective with Bijan early on in this game. He huts the ball. He's looking, he's waiting, and it's a great protection. A hole opens up through the A gap for the quarterback to sneak through. He waits on it. Okay, I guess I'm going to take it. He starts running, and you see his legs just churning. 1, 2. He has to get his acceleration up to even get to the speed that whoever the commentator that does the run, every 40 run, he has to get up to that speed, and then he's churning his legs, and just trips himself. He can't move the ball with his legs at all, and somehow it hasn't really hurt us these first 2 games. It hurt us the first week when TJ Watt exploded against us, but he's been able to find Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and a big part of that protection has been Bijan Robinson, and that's my point. Let me wrap that up. I often go on tangents and don't wrap up things. That's because of Bijan Robinson. That's the value that he brings to a roster. But it was a rough game from Bijan other than that. But I do love our receiving options. Another issue that came on in this game was a couple of fumbles. We got a little bit of fumbleitis. Every single time we're getting tackled, I'm praying we're not going to drop the ball. Bijan dropped a couple. He recovered it. Kirk Cousins had his own fumbles. One of them I thought was a forward pass. They didn't rule it that. Bijan kicked it instead. Whatever gets us the ball back. Drake London had a bobble, got it back. A couple of them on our punt returner here. Avery Williams, who I think is also pretty slow as molasses here. Avery Williams a couple times lost it on his elbow, picked it back up. Thank goodness. And that was the first start of the first legacy drive there, really. And Koo, as good as always, made his one kick above 50. That was almost blocked. Koo, his range gets iffy 50 plus, knocks it down, never in doubt. And the defense, once again, look, I don't think we got a single sack in this game. I can't remember a single sack in this game. Yeah, Falcons get 0 sacks in this game, but we were able to generate enough pressure, and our coverage is good enough where we don't need to generate any pressure, and the pressure is generated from the coverage. AJ Terrell has another one of those seasons where he pops out for a couple of plays with some big hits, I'm going to talk your ear off as a corner. But he also lets him off the hook a couple of times. I mean, Rashee Rice, their number one receiver, went for $120 in the third quarter. And he's done that. George Pickens went off for a lot. Devontae Smith went off for a lot. AJ Terrell isn't the cover corner that you think he is. But he talks a lot. He makes big hits. He's impressive. He's not a great cover corner. He's probably not deserving of that big payday we gave him to become a top 5 paid corner. Jesse Bates is worth that money. And who also has been worth his money so far has been Justin Simmons, who got his 6th pick against Patrick Mahomes, and one of the moments where you're thinking everything's going right in the world. When the Falcons are up 7, they march down the field easy as pie, getting the touchdown, great throw, wide open Drake London. Falcons first 2 weeks done a bunch of screens to Bijan, just on the outside as the X receiver. This time it's a smash concept. You have Drake London released to the corner of the end zone, and nobody's covering him. All eyes are on Bijan, wide open. It was similar to the first touchdown week 1 against the Steelers to Kyle Pitts. Throws it, wide open Drake London, and on the way back, the Chiefs are moving it with ease as they did all day, except Patrick Mahomes wants to get his own corner shot, and he sees it, he takes it, but it's floated. And I remember thinking at the time, man, that ball is floating up there. That's just skidding around the sky, pitter-patter. Justin Simmons runs all the way from basically playing as a pseudo-middle linebacker, finds his way all the way into the corner, picks it right off. Easy as pie. Everything is going swell for the Falcons. Obviously, it wasn't never going to continue that way. It was never going to be continuously easy for the Falcons. But the defense got their part of the bargain done. They held them to 22 points. I think that's how much you can expect to hold the Chiefs and this offense too. The Falcons offense didn't hold their end of the bargain. And is Kirk going to get healthier? I don't know. He looked like he got hurt throughout this game. He was, ripping passes, felt really comfortable in the pocket until he got hit a couple times, until he fumbled. His grip started feeling weird on the ball. He sunk a couple ones into the ground, and you're thinking, is Kirko okay? I know his legs aren't okay, but his arm has to be okay. That's something we cannot deal with. And we were able to sneak our way through the second half. And we could have won it if we kicked those 2 field goals, but 2 fourth downs do stop us. I am worried about it. He has to stay that confident Kirko. He has to stay that confident quarterback, and he has to have his arm on him. I'm done. I understand. Dude's going to be a statue. We're not going to be able to expect him to gain a single yard on a rush. That's fine. But we really do have to hope and have to have the accurate Kirk making every single throw. And he was that. He was 5 for 5. He was 10 for 13. He ends 20 for 28. Not as good, but, he got it when he needed to. And it wasn't his fault that the Falcons called a putrid final play. And it wasn't his fault that they didn't kick the field goals when they needed to. Right? And so I can't fault him too much. Do I wish the Falcons had a better pass rush? Absolutely. Do I think we were going to get one without drafting a guy high, without signing multiple guys? No. Judon's good. Judon's going to get us. I mean, he's had sacks in the first 2 games. He didn't have one this game, but, he'll be a 10-sack guy. He'll be an 8, 9, 10-sack guy. Grady Jarrett's not the pass rusher he used to be. He still gets stops in the run game. He still hustles out there. Same thing with Onyemata, but they're not going to be pressuring Patrick Mahomes, right? They're sort of pass rush days from the defensive tackle spot are over, and so you're looking for something else. Jaquan Graham was good in this game, had a couple of stops early. You're looking at Eddie Goldman, Contavious Street. These guys are interchangeable. What we've been able to do is supplement it with Keaton Ellis. And there was one highlight pack, and this is not talking about Keaton Ellis here. There was one highlight pack. It was the right tackle of Kansas City. I can't name him. I'm sorry. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I don't care. McGarry, I'm going to talk about the offensive line later. But there was one play here where it was one highlight pack. And you see multiple plays where you see Lorenzo Carter, who is good in stopping the run, and Ebiketie, both coming off that right tackle side. They're coming on trying to make it a sack. And they're not getting within a whiff of Patrick Mahomes. And even if they did, I think they would be swooped under. There is no way. Mahomes wasn't even looking like he was going to get sacked in this game. Not even close. Not close once were we getting to Patrick Mahomes sacked. And Lorenzo Carter and Ebiketie can never and have not been able to generate any amount of wins on the outside. And so these are these things. It's like we got Michael Penix on the bench. He has a lot more health than Kirko does. He has a lot more whatever than Kirko does. He's got a lot more youth. Even, taking that into account, you still have to realize, we needed a pass rusher in this game. And we need a pass rusher this season. And we're not going to have one. And we're going to live without it. Judon's good. Judon's fine. We needed another one to really shore up our defensive line. On our offensive line, it was good. But then injuries happened. And it was very similar plays in this second quarter where you see Drew Dahlman and you see Caleb McGarry go out. And McGarry had an atrocious game against the Steelers. TJ Watt, it's hard to block him, I get it. We basically had to have Pitts chip him every single time. But even still, you have to understand, that he's a really good boon to us in the run game. And I think once we lose those two guys who are arguably our two best run blockers, once we lose Dahlman, once we lose McGarry, all of a sudden, the entire run game goes kaplunk. It's out of here. And we're looking back, and Bijan has 30 yards rushing on 16 carries. It's just frustrating. I really like our coverage group. I'm happy with that. The offensive line goes down. The running game goes down. The team goes down. And we're going to have to regroup. We're going to have to coach up Storm Norton. We're going to have to coach up the other guy we had in there who I still don't know his name. We're going to have to coach up those guys to be able to effectively run that scheme, or else we might be looking at ourselves at 1-3. Because, yes, we're through the toughest part of the season. We're through those first 3 games. But now you look up and we got New Orleans, we got Tampa Bay 2-1. These are games we have to win, right? We allow ourselves to lose these games, fine. But now we're at the games we got to win. And so are we ready to win? I think we are. We played good against the Chiefs here. We played great against the Eagles. But now it's time to get it done, right? And New Orleans has been really impressive. The Eagles shut them down offensively. Tampa Bay was impressive. Somehow they lose to Denver. I don't really get that one. So hopefully we get the good side of the New Orleans Pelicans. Saints. We take them down. We take down Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden we're looking at 3-2 with New Orleans and Tampa Bay right below us in the standings. And if we can do that the next 2 weeks, we're sitting pretty. But it's going to take a full effort from our offensive line. It's going to take a full effort from Kirk Cousins to stay healthy and keep his confident self as he always has. And it's going to keep our defense, not winning these games, because they're never going to win us these games. We don't have a talented enough defense to win these games. But keeping us in it, keeping the other team at 22 to 15 points, keep them in that range, and let the offense win it for us. And if we can do that, defensively, with the offensive line, and with Kirk Cousins, we'll be fine, and we'll be sitting pretty at 3-2 in the standings with the easiest schedule in the league. Will we do that? Who knows? But that's going to do it for this episode of the Falcons Fanatic Podcast. I've been your host, Lucky Roberts. I appreciate you for listening, the first one of the season. I'll be back with more. I'll get this all figured out with the face cam and stuff. Don't worry about it. But I appreciate you listening, and hopefully we have some better news to talk about the next couple of weeks. It's a stinger, but did I expect to beat the Chiefs? Not at all. And so I'll take what we've gotten from this game, a tightly contested game that we really could have won, which is frustrating, but it's okay. I'm going to accept that. Now let's go out and win some. And if we can't, that's the end of our season already because we're 1-2, and that's what we have to realize. Sure, we've played well. We're 1-2. Sure, we've had tough teams. We're 1-2, right? We got to start making these good efforts and putting them in the win column. But I'll leave it with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.